Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jen if you're new here. Let me see if I need to zoom in. This is my 2024 recap kind of video journal. So welcome. This was the year I laid new tracks and I veered off from my life's trajectory, which might sound like romantic or heroic, but it definitely wasn't easy. It was for the better, but it wasn't, a simple task. The second half of the year was 5 stars, like 5 full stars. The first half was 1, but that sucker was hanging on by a thread. So there was quite a shift in experience. But at least we can start the story with you knowing that, like, there is a happy ending. Here I am, obviously, December 2024, alive, well, and feeling good. So we have that to hang on to. If you're wondering where I am, by the way, and you can hear all these geese squawking in the background, I'm at Bruneau State Park. That right there is the observatory. They're on off season right now, but you can come here during the winter, or I think like the majority of the year, and the observatory like runs in the evenings and you can obviously observe the stars, and it's a really super cool place. There's a lake there you can go fishing. It's hard to believe that this is like the desert. It's technically high desert, but I completely digress. I just wanted to show you guys that. So in the beginning of the year, I was pretty sick. Like physically, mentally, not like mentally sick, but like mentally drained and worn out and all that. But in all the ways that you could be like unwell, I was just pushing through. I held down a full-time job. I was working remotely, thank God. I was bootstrapping a small business. Like these weren't the things that took me out, but I'm just painting a snapshot picture for you, just kind of see, what I was doing. I was out in Arkansas because I was helping my ex with some medical stuff. He had a pretty horrific malpractice thing happen. So it brought me out there, but that comes with a whole slew of things. Not the video for that, just giving you context. So January of this year, at my wit's end, I was pretty, again, unwell, and being out there really flared these crazy histamine responses. I was getting like allergic to things out of nowhere. My body was just kind of revolting against me. But it would get to the point where my face would swell up, like my eyes would swell shut, and I'd have to call out from work because my eyes are swollen shut. And I had weird things going on just like with my skin. I was getting allergic to my cats, which I've had for years. Unwell. Yeah, I want to keep it pretty light because honestly, I just want to get to the second part of this year, which was amazing. Off the top of my head, how was I feeling? Struggling with even Epstein-Barr, which I said in a video that is not up anymore. I had that diagnosed just a couple of years ago, and that made a lot of sense. It checked out because my body just wasn't healing. I had put it in remission, but it came back certainly at the beginning of the year. I was really lonely, so I went out there to help someone whom I cared about. And I was trying to do my best with that. And we did find him a specialist and we succeeded at some things, and that's great. But now I'm just kind of out there. I was like depressed, sad. I gained all this weight. I didn't want to see or speak to anyone. I was kind of isolating myself. But I pulled through because, my friends, they knew I had just gone through this divorce and that I'm just out in Arkansas. But, they would check on me. They did pulse checks. I had really good friends come out and visit me, which was incredibly helpful. It was really amazing to kind of see and feel people that are not only familiar, but, that you kind of remember what friendship is like, and you remember what it's like to not be like a hermit or just kind of hate people or not want to be seen. I didn't hate people. I just honestly just wanted to melt into the background and not really be in society, if that makes any sense. So a couple of things was going on in the beginning, awful, whatever, trying to bootstrap this business, working full time, dealing with whatever, my health just deteriorating. And a few months, I would say March to May, I'm getting excited because my lease is ending and I get to move. I get to change my circumstance and my environment, certainly. So I started scouting. I landed on Boise, which is where I am now. Well, technically this is Bruneau, but you know what I mean. And that's where things kind of, snowballed for me. And what's funny, the reason I even came out here, I'm gonna laugh, it was because in 2019, I watched a YouTube video. It was like one of those walkthrough YouTube channels where you look at like celebrities' homes. And I was looking at, I watched Aaron Paul and his wife do a walkthrough of their home, and they live in McCall, just a couple hours north of Boise. But I watched that, and it was one of those videos that I keep saved, and I drum up every maybe once a year, and I just kind of like watch it and dream of some alternate universe where like that's my house or whatever. But in 2019, I said, oh yeah, that's where I'm gonna live, and we should check that out. At the time, we lived in Vegas, and the flights are only like $40. I didn't know that. It was on our to-do list for years. Like, oh, we're gonna check out Boise. We're gonna go there, and it's so easy to get to. Like, the flights are quick. Never did. Pandemic happened, life happened, here we are. So when I was hitting this transition of having to leave Northwest Arkansas, which by the way was lovely, I highly recommend anyone to go do it. If you're a coffee enthusiast, I know a lot of you are, that's the place. That's the place. You would never guess it, but it is. Anyways, so when I had the opportunity to, or I had to make that transition, like my lease was ending, I knew for certain I wasn't going to extend it. And I just had Boise on the mind. And so I took a weekend and I scouted it, fell in love. I didn't have to think twice about it. I said, this is it. This is good enough. Honestly, my next foothold. It's not like I need to figure out where I'm nesting and growing a family and laying roots and all that. I just need the next foothold. Okay, it's getting boggy out here. Let me go back. During the transition, so I packed everything. I packed all my stuff in a pod, and I packed my cats and some toiletries, just really easy, livable things, an air mattress. So I just packed my car with my cats and some stuff, and I drove across the country. Halfway through, we ended up somewhere in Colorado, probably Denver, I don't remember. It was long. I think it was like 18 plus hours at that point. I only stopped because, well, I just absolutely had to, just the mental exhaustion and driving with cats and whatnot. But I get into the hotel, you know, and I set out, I've taken my cats one by one. It's 2 in the morning at this point, set up their litter box, their food. I try to I crash, but my cats are fighting. They're in a new scenario. They're very edgy. Pebbles, the girl, does not get along with the boys at all anyways. So at 3 in the morning, I wake up to just cats fighting. And this was just a moment. I had my first breakdown. I completely broke down. I was just crying in this hotel bedroom, and my cat's just going amok. And I hated everything. Like resented at everything. I resented everything that happened. I resented the situation. I just hated it, everything. And I was so exhausted. Like it wasn't even like logical. But I mean, the whole time that I was just out on a limb out in Arkansas, which was beyond this year, but all that time, like I never cried once. I was just, you know, kind of gritting my teeth and getting through it. Like I put myself there. I understand that. But it was literally the transition. Like I'm in the middle of the country on my way to my new life. And I just felt just exhausted, all that, but it was the one and only time that I felt that like my body couldn't white knuckle it anymore. You know what I mean? Like I had lost my grip on my crap, and that was my first breakdown, yo. Next morning, got it together, cats back in the car, got to Boise, got here. That was a magical night, yo. I remember I parked somewhere and I was walking around my complex, and the air felt just so crisp. It's like, welcome to PNW, like Pacific Northwest is home. By the way, I'm from Anchorage, Alaska. I'm born in Anchorage, Alaska. A little too far for me to just move and reset roots right now because it's not contiguous. It's just far. But PNW is very much my home. Like it's like almost the same climate. The culture is similar. Nothing's really the same to like Alaska, I guess, but yeah. So anyways, I felt that, right? So we had kind of the same like evergreen trees, the air is crisp, but even something else was going on in that complex. Like the shrubbery or something smelled just so good. Immediately, I just felt better. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm here. I made it. Like I swam out of the deep end. Like I'm touching land. We're here. Okay, so at this point, like the rating is climbing, right? Now we're kind of like at 2 stars, 2 to 3 stars. June, I want to say, June, July, almost immediately after I land, and like my stuff is not even there yet. I have an air mattress, and I will say that was kind of like the happiest time, not of my life, that is really hyperbolic. That was a really simple and happy time in my life that I've had in a long time. Everything, like literally, just the house was so clear of everything. I had just the essentials. Here's where I sleep. I had my work laptop so I could still work. I had the very essentials, no like choices or decisions to make really, you know, as far as like options, very basic, so bare bones. So that summer, after I've barely settled, I think 2 weeks later, not even, I joined the Detox Dudes mastermind, and that was quite an experience. It was a big capstone in my year, and I think it was so symbolic of what I was literally going through, right? Like a detox, like a major 3-month mastermind of a detox, and it was just so in line with everything I was doing, like detoxing my life, leaving things kind of like physically behind me, But also that mastermind, like, it was just awesome. Like the amount of information that I got, the people you meet, and to see their transformations. It's all like self-paced, and it's all what I'm not going to give it away. If you want to do it, I recommend it. But it was the thing to do that summer. You know what I mean? It's not like I landed and was like, all right, we're here. Let's go Buck Wild. Let's check out all the bars. And no shade and no problem if that's what you do. Because honestly, like, you know, you probably have a healthy social life or something. I landed and I was still very much in hermit mode. I just kept in contact with my very close friends, and that's it. I was under construction, right? That summer I did the detox. You know, while I was doing that, I traded in my car. I had a Volvo SUV. I traded it in for this Bronco Sport right here. Bam. Because I just wanted this lifestyle, right? Not only was it like, oh, to fit in, not that Volvos don't fit in, there are plenty of Volvos out here, but I just wanted to camp. I wanted to get into nature. I wanted to do all the things outdoors. And this was more than capable of what I planned on doing. I even kind of accidentally ran into some like rock crawls, which I didn't plan. Just the trails just turned into like boulders and a rock crawl. And I was able to clear it, thank God. But so I'm really glad that I had this Bronco and not like my Volvo, which was also really symbolic of my old life, right? It was just, I love that car. Oh my gosh, please Volvo, don't, I don't know, put me on your crap list. But I babied that car because it was such a high performing vehicle. Oh God, it was so good. I loved it so much, but I would have babied it. Like there's no way I'm taking it off the trails. And I know there's a whole community of people who kind of like mod their Volvos. I'm veering off again. I'm sorry. It can be done. I just would not have done it, if you understand. Like this girl right here, she can take a beating. We just go. That's how I wanted it. You know, I did my detox. I switched out my car, and very shortly thereafter, I think in July, I quit. I quit my job in fintech, working remotely. You know, fill in all the blanks. It's definitely a dream job, and my team was amazing. I had a great team. But I had to do that. It was the final thing that was just keeping me attached to the old way of life, not to come on here and be all like frou-frou woo-woo and be like, oh, the energies or whatever. But it very much was, you know, the behavioral pattern that I was in. I didn't love doing cybersecurity. Like I was in it because that was my training in the Air Force, and that's a lucrative job, and I could do it, and I did it, and it still wasn't for me. So it was the last thing to go. And after I did that, really, my nervous system calmed right the freak down. I spent a week probably just like staring out the window. There's this cute family of gophers that live in the trees outside of my window. And I just watched them. I'm going to say in like the first 2 months of me just kind of doing things like that and then going camping. Yeah, my nervous system, my cortisol levels, I started feeling better immediately. I have to show you guys this. This is actually, I'm sorry this video is getting whatever, but I'm out here because I was filming a review video for my tent because I've sold it. The guy already paid me. I'm just waiting for him to get back from a trip, and we'll be exchanging hands. You know, it'll be in his custody. It's a really big moment because when I bought my tent, I want to say in August or September, that was the time of my life. She was the best thing that I bought all year long. She was the best experience that I had all year long. She, the tent. I drove her through Canada to Alaska. And this is where I'm talking about like my journey. Now we're getting up to like 4 stars, right? I've done all these things. I've decluttered. I've let go of like the baggage. I'm driving around all of PNW, met up with friends in Montana, and drove through Canada, went home to Alaska, and camped all the while. I picked up some new hobbies. I got this thing called the Hestia. It's not a telescope technically, but it is a magnifier for your smartphone. So the way that it's set up kind of looks like a projector. You angle it towards the sky, obviously, and you lay your phone on it so that you're able to take amazing, not deep space, but certainly like some celestial photos on your phone. There were like a lot of months where I would just go out on a full moon and just take pictures of that, because that was like the best thing that you could see on the phone. I haven't gotten deep into the app to see what it really can do and max out its capability, but I could take pictures of the moon. Like that was easy enough. I did a lot of reading. I had more friends come visit me out here. Again, I haven't walked into like a single bar, mind you. So like finding friends is a little bit challenging as an adult. In any case, it's not my scene. I know the coffee scene really freaking well out here. Yeah, as far as all that social stuff, I kind of have to force myself to go out. And not because I'm so averse to people. Like at this point, like I came here, right? I still worked remotely. So I came here in a remote job. I've never gone into a physical building to work. I had to make myself familiar with like downtown. So it's just me just kind of like driving around and figuring this place out. So there was nothing that obligated me to interface with people out here or be in like a work environment or anything like that. So yeah, I had to discover that. I made a couple of friends, one in a coffee shop actually, and the other one in REI. Satara is awesome. We've been doing a lot of camping together. It just goes to show that you pick up people in places where your interest will attract the people that you'll most jive with, right? I mean, it only makes sense. I think the very next thing I need to do is just, hang out in Barnes & Nobles until I make a friend. I love Barnes & Nobles and I go there a lot, but it's filled with bookish people. It's not like people are there to socialize per se. I digress. Yeah, towards the end of the year, it is now the holidays. I didn't go anywhere for Thanksgiving, but we had a remote Friendsgiving. That might sound really depressing to some of you, but to be honest, it was perfect. Like I'm going home for Christmas, but for Thanksgiving, I needed to grind. I had mentioned earlier in the video that I was bootstrapping my online company again. So I have an online business for Boba Apparel. Boba is a lifestyle and I very much subscribe to that lifestyle. So I went back to that and continued with the bootstrapping, and I was just busy with other stuff. And at this point, I actually need to really be heads down on my projects. Because, now I've been jobless for months and I just need to be heads down and get on my projects, if you know what I mean. We did Thanksgiving remotely, Friendsgiving, and my mom FaceTimed me with a family at the house. So it was really cool. Like, I didn't feel like I missed out just because I was so busy, and it felt better to get work done. And that's totally the mode that I'm in right now. Yeah, that kind of recaps my year. And I'm getting kind of cold. I might have to take this elsewhere. Hey guys, it's Editor Jen here to bring it all home, to wrap this up. Well, after I left the park, my friend Satara, whom I talked about that I met in REI, she called and we met up for dinner. And by the time that was all over and I got home, I was too tired. Honestly, I forgot that there was still, I was like in the middle of filming. So here I am to fill in some gaps. So another thing that was really worth mentioning that I did when I got here over the summer was I started seeing a functional patterns personal trainer at Boise Biomechanics. Boy, that was a really great experience. That was something else because I had done physical therapy for years and not with much improvement, but this was so different. It helped to improve my shoulder and my hip issues. And to completely capstone this whole year, we have a couple weeks left. I'll be going home to Anchorage for Christmas and the New Year, just so you know like what the end of my year looks like. And if you've made it this far, you're a real one. And I want to give you a code to my website. So if you go to bobatype.com, the link is also in the description, and you go to checkout, enter in jcas, that's JCAS, to get 20% off of your purchase. Yeah, so that's from my new holiday collection. If you use that code, get 20% off. I'll make it valid until Christmas. What the heck? So December 25th at midnight, that code will be valid. Or until that time, the code will be valid. I also want to say that filming and editing this video was extremely cathartic. Like when I was collecting the footage and jogging my memory and going through the photos of this year, to film this video, it really, I did a lot. There were just a lot of just such big rocks this year and key moments and all of this stuff. And it was really awesome to go through that process again because there were some details that I had forgotten. You kind of just get to the end of the year or wherever you are in life and you just kind of lose detail of the past a little bit. So I'm really glad that I had those pictures to look back on. And there were moments where it's like I didn't really want to take a picture of anything. And I made it a habit actually I hand make all of my calendars, like all the months. And so I make it a habit to take a picture of what happened in the previous month. And that helps a lot too. But just to see exactly with my own two eyes, like how bad the beginning of the year was to like what it looks like now, it's pretty crazy. So it's like I could put a bow on this year and like ship her off, just tie it up, send her out, and go into the new year feeling super light, super renewed, and just with a whole new purpose and mission. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you all should do a video journal at the end of the year. I mean, you still have time right now. And then I want to leave you guys with this parting message, and that is that you can never go back to who you were. That might make you sad, but it shouldn't. You can only grow into something better, or you can grow into something bitter. During defining events, I'm not going to say like after trauma or anything, but like during, you know, a defining moment or an event in your life, you can either get stronger from it, or you can let it just poison you. And that looks like reliving the glory days and not letting go of the past and missing something that they had or something that they were. And when you do that, you're really robbing yourself of the present, and you're underestimating who you are and what you're going through, undervaluing who you could be. You know, and just consider that, like when you break a bone, the scar tissue, it's stronger than its previous uninjured state. Like, I wouldn't want to go back to my 20-year-old self. There are absolutely elements that I would love to relive. But, you know, she was naive. I bless her heart. She was a great person. I loved 20-year-old Jennifer. But having gone through all that I have and knowing that, like, I'm still here and I'm good and in fact better, I would never want to revert to a state where I had less experience. But although scar tissue is stronger than its previous uninjured state, if it heals wrong, it could give you problems potentially for the rest of your life, right? Certainly for a very long time. Sometimes you have to re-break it and reset it to get everything right again. And same thing in life, you know, sometimes you have to backtrack, or sometimes you have to just completely break out of your environment, out of your routine, out of whatever you're doing, and relay the tracks. The longer you go in the wrong direction, though, the more work and the harder it will be in the future. But it's worth doing. Well, thank you guys for your attention. Thank you for your time. And I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.